Hey, how's it going?
Hey Dan, how are you?
Very well, yourself?
Not too bad now. So we're live here in the
Good stuff.
the first game of our tabletop tournament, tabletop simulator tournament finals between uh, Ken Curran, Bayushi Ken, and Alex Felton. Uh, Khrytos is coming in here as uh,
Bayushi
the
Ken and
the lower
Alex
bracket
Felton.
winner,
Right.
so he has to win 2 games back to back if he wants to win the event. Ken is coming in as the upper bracket winner, so he just needs to win the first game or the second game, win either game, and he'll be our champion. I'm joined here by Dan from London. I'm Jack, and we're here to do some commentary on this game. And they're in the draft already, so we've seen a very unsurprising first pick of Vigo from Khrytos. He's been picking Vigo first all event long, highly prioritizing that pick, and we are going to see. Ken has been thinking really hard about Alex's uh, pick order, and Ken's going for Octavian. So that signals possibly that Ken is thinking about playing Wrathlord. But he's Octavian is one of those picks you keep yourself reasonably open. And players are banning heroes now. Alex gets the first ban. He's thinking hard. Still thinking hard. What's he going to go for? He is banning Corvus. Okay. Ken bans Itotia. That's sorry. So Ken banning Itotia. That's him. He's been scouting Alex all tournament long, and Alex has been favoring a Vigo Itotia build for the last couple of rounds. So Ken, knowing that, he didn't want to let Alex have that. Interesting that Alex went for the Corvus ban there. Ken isn't normally a Corvus, big proponent of early picking Corvus. And Ken takes Bran as his second pick, so now he's really strongly representing a likely Wrathlord focus draft, and Alex will be keenly aware of that as well. With Aitotia gone, she's a strong answer to Wrathlord comps because of her capacity to one-shot the tank on turn 1, and then the synergy between Octavian and Bran. So if we see Ken take Viola here as his final pick, then that's a guaranteed Wrathlord deck. But if we see him take someone else, um, it's still possible we'll see a Wrathlord pick, but his default Wrathlord pick here is his default third pick here if he's going Wrathlord would be Viola. And she'll get banished early on because her skill deck provides a lot of useful advantages for the Wrathlord, and he's going to be working as Ken's DPS character, so he won't need Viola to fill that role. And then Octavian and Bran will sort of hang around, letting the Wrathlord do his work, covering his back. Okay, so Alex is going for the kind of classic mid-range value-y team. If you take a look at his 3 heroes here, we'll see Vigo, Ichiro, and Eos. One tank, one evoker, one support, each from the Welcome to the Arena set. These characters are themed around, or well, I say themed around, were designed around having slightly fatter stats on their front side, offset by the lack of an ability. So that deck, just by the bodies, the size of the heroes is generating value right away, and then each of their decks kind of contributes to that as well. Now, Ichiro as a late pick for Alex here is kind of funny because his most powerful card is Tsukidashi, a talent card that lets you move enemy heroes around, which is really, really valuable for sniping valuable targets in the mid and late game. But if Ken is about to manifest Wrathlord, which as he took Viola third pick, he 100% is, then that invalidates a lot of the power of Tsukidashi, and Alex should have known that. So surprising to see him late pick into Ichiro when Ken was already so strongly representing a Wrathlord manifest turn 1. While the players are just getting set up there, I am going to just promote this game a little bit. Players shuffling their decks up. So we're heroes are deploying out. Just 1 second there. So Ken is able to deploy Viola first here. Normally you'd hold off on deploying your DPS until later. He's deploying her first here because both players know that she is not going to be featuring in this game. The first thing that's going to happen when deployment ends is she's going to disappear and the Rattler is going to appear anywhere at all. So him putting her down there is basically a way of stalling and waiting to see how Alex deploys his guys. And then Ken can put his real heroes, Bran and Octavian, down wherever he prefers. And as Alex is going first, he's going to be looking for a setup that lets him... Okay, so what we're seeing here from Ken, and he's got a theory about this, that letting his middle shrine go first forces Alex to spend more actions moving around between lanes in order to bust all 3 conduits. And he is baiting Alex here. Alex's setup is actually punishing him here a little bit already, because normally, or in previous iterations of this build, the +2 attack Wrathlord Shrine has been on the underneath the leftmost conduit or underneath the rightmost conduit, not the center. And if you get that +2 attack conduit flipped early, it gives a huge advantage to the Wrathlord player. So Alex knows, again, almost certainly, that this conduit is the one that Ken wants busted. But it also is, it's hard to give that up because his alternative when he's going first and he's only got 2 actions is that he's going to spend his first 2 actions on huge advantage to the Wrathlord player. He's going to spend that advantage, or he's going to give up his first turn advantage basically by relocating his heroes, which he doesn't want to do. So it's a very difficult position for Alex just based out of the deployment here. The question of whether or not he wants to try and weather the storm of a 5 attack Wrathlord, or whether he wants to give up his first turn advantage and go chasing a kill on Octavian. Neither of those is a hugely appealing option. He does at least have Eos there, so he could move Vigo and team attack Octavian with Vigo and Eos, or team attack the conduit in, from our perspective, the leftmost lane, this fella up here. Octavian will probably block, and good chance he'll survive, but not necessarily with 7 attack coming in. But there's a lot of bad options here for Alex, unfortunately. Now, if Ken is playing next level mind games, it's possible that the +2 attack conduit is here, and he's trying to bait Alex into spending actions and blowing up the wrong conduit, etc. But I'd expect more likely is the case that the +2 attack conduit is behind this one in the middle here. And I think that's, while it's less tricky, it is it's just kind of straightforwardly bad and difficult for Alex. It leaves him with a very tough decision to make on his first turn. So yeah, Alex went with that first choice that I was talking about. He knows he doesn't want to give Ken that +2 attack advantage, so he's moved Vigo for 1 action and team attacked the conduit. Octavian blocks, and Ken's got an Eternal Discipline. So Octavian is certainly going to survive this attack if Ken wants him to. Obviously, he's giving up cards to do it, but he's going to be fine with that. He's going to be able to recover his Octavian. Let's see, 7, 10, -3. So Octavian's already surviving this attack, but Ken may want to play another card. But he doesn't need to be honest, especially with Bran. Yeah, and he's just going to take the 7 damage. That's fine. He'll recover 1 at the start of the turn. He'll heal 1 at the start of the turn when he recovers for free. So this is all. That was a pretty great. Alex's turn 1 went pretty perfectly for Ken, and he didn't even need to play the second card. So Ken is going to start his turn by busting Alex's Gift of the Elements conduit. That was, generally speaking, that's the one you want to see destroyed first, because it gains you 2 power, it accelerates your power gain at the start of the game, and that's one of the things that Alex's deck has over the Wrathlord. The Wrathlord generally produces very, very low economy. And one of the ways in which Alex can get ahead in this game is by leveling his guys up. A leveled up Vigo, a leveled up Ichiro, both potentially very, very valuable in this game. And Alex also likes to play, as most Vigo players do, he likes to play either the Sun God's Gauntlet or the Archdruid's Staff on Vigo, which kind of puts Vigo on par with the Wrathlord in terms of his capacity for wrecking conduits. The Wrathlord at the moment is actually not all that impressive. He's just 3 attack, 8 hit points, and effectively no ability. It's not until those conduits start flipping that he really starts to become frightening. So, into Alex's second turn here, he should be triggering his Evoker any moment now to signal the start of his turn. Unless he's forgotten, always a possibility. Especially on Tabletop Simulator, we find that mechanical errors like that tend to be more common on digital platforms for whatever reason. But no, he remembers. He's been doing this long enough now. So with 4 power, he has some pretty good options. He may want to hold on to it to see whether or not he wants to buy an item for Vigo early on. He has enough to level Ichiro, appealing, but not necessarily hugely valuable at the moment. Leveling Vigo here could be very valuable. Generally speaking, you want to put the +1 attack item on him before you level him in this build, because he gives you that conduit threatening power, and then leveling him up follows later to add that survivability and capacity to bully. But we'll see what Alex wants to do. Noteworthy as well, he's got 1 inspiration in his bin here, and that already, the reduction on buyback cost that grants with the 4 power he's got in his bank is already giving him early access to use his buyback if he wants to. Apologies, toddler broke in there. Back with his mother now. Alex still thinking, so that's fine. He's wondering whether or not he wants to try and go for killing Octavian. The Conduit is probably more valuable at the moment, but then he wants to try and net the efficiency of destroying it in a single attack with Vigo, rather than spending his turn recovering and then killing. Oh, sorry, I missed it. There's a team attack on Octavian, I'm guessing. Okay. Or a team attack on the Conduit, Octavian blocks. Octavian is not going to survive this one. Alex has got a nice fat bank of power now. And yeah, he's going for the gauntlet. So there are questions, and he'll be able to level Vigo up right away as well if he wants the next turn. So that puts him in a reasonably good spot as far as his development of his board goes. There's a question a lot of the time around whether or not you want to put the staff, the Archdruid staff, on Vigo or the Sun God's Gauntlet. Alex tends to favor the Gauntlet, which gives Vigo the conduit smashing power of having 5 attack basic, and then it gives him additionally that he has 6 attack when swinging on heroes. This is valuable for 2 reasons. One, it means your ceiling for damage becomes pretty high. You swinging for 9 on a team attack or 12 on most normal. If you include your clash, 9 with a clash card, 12 in a team attack. And that extra 1 point often makes the difference between a kill and an enemy hero surviving. Another advantage is that when you're swinging for 6 basic, you can often use it to bully cards out, because 6 is such a high number to begin with that if I swing on a lot of targets for 6, I'm going to be threatening a knockout without ever playing a card. So you can use it as a form of card advantage to try and bully cards out of your opponent's hand as well. The downside is that it gives you that the staff brings a little more survivability. The gain of giving Evoker is less super important in this deck, because generally speaking, this build runs the Oracle, who is an Evoker themselves, especially when Eos is your Evoker. That strongly implies an Oracle will be coming out for Alex, even though Alex has liked to play Judge most of this tournament. I expect with this build we're likely to see the Oracle, but then the potential surprise value in playing the Judge as well. So Alex is playing this right so far. With playing against the Wrathlord, what you want to do generally is you want to pick off his supporting heroes rather than go for him himself. He scales reasonably well up to a point. Okay, so here's the Boundless Rage. Ken is reviving right away, and he's mostly doing that because he wants to get his Boundless Rage online. That's the more valuable thing here to him than bringing Octavian back. Obviously, bringing Octavian back is good too. His immediate objective is he wants to get his Boundless Rage online, because that's what makes his Wrathlord turn into a real threat. So we're back to Alex now. He's got 4 power. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see him spend 3 of it to level up Vigo right away. But he has a few alternative options again because of the inspiration in his discard pile. He has access to his buyback, which he might want to keep. We don't know what other items he's running, so he might want something he wants to attach to each row. But for 4, I doubt that we're going to see that anytime soon. Generally, with each row, you want to put maybe a Thorn Plate or yeah, there it is, leveling up Vigo. That's the obvious line. So Vigo is now sort of like equivalent to the Wrathlord in offensive power. So he's swinging in for a 6 on Octavian with 3 armor. He's a wrecking ball now. So we're going to see a clash probably from Alex here. He's going to want to threaten the kill. A minor card advantage for Ken, 6 card versus 5, but bearing in mind that Ken has already finished his last turn and drew an extra 1, Alex will draw 1 at the end of this turn. So cards functionally equivalent. So I would expect to see a clash from both players here. Yeah, and there's the Blood Drunk. Now, interestingly, depending on what you want to do with the rest of the turn, it could be more efficient to not clash in the first combat and use the Blood Drunk to swing a second time, because that way your Blood Drunk is adding up to 6 total attack rather than just 3. Oh, and actually it looks like that's what happened. Misunderstood, yes. That's what the danger of not being able to hear the player. So that's what Alex did. He's used the Blood Drunk there for his talent ability. And in doing so, it becomes, because it basically refreshes Vigo's entire attack, it becomes functionally a 6 attack card. Now, we're seeing a Sukidashi clash here. Normally you'd be holding your Sukidashis in hand, but obviously because their value is so diminished against the Wrath Lord, Alex can feel more comfortable playing them for their 3 attack clash in this game. So he's keeping Ken on the back foot by continuing to knock his Octavian down. We're going to see Ken continue to wreck shrines. His middle one may survive the turn, but the Wrath Lord's offensive power, similarly to Vigo, the Wrath Lord's 5 attack allows him to represent a very serious threat with very little effort. So Ken, by not clashing in that first combat, has built himself a nice little card advantage here. Leaves him free to clash as long as Alex does. He'll keep that advantage. And yeah, we'll see the clash coming out. Alex doesn't need to clash here. Technically, it's going to be very difficult for the Wrath Lord to actually get a kill on Ichiro. But considering his healing options are limited to rebirths and hearty appetites, and presumably a violent fusion, playing the rebirth there for its armor value is fine. So Ken recovers his Wrath Lord with the second action and crushes the conduit with his third, leaving his Wrath Lord committed and his Bran open. The Nature's Bounty allows Alex to recover his Vigo for free, which would have left that conduit open, but Ken has chosen to use his buyback, spending 5 power, which is a significant investment, especially in the mid-game. It means he's giving up on leveling his Bran, for instance. And we're seeing Octavian return to block that conduit again. So this puts Ken in a reasonably forward position, because obviously Alex is going to be able to do pretty much the same thing to Ken that Ken did to him in the last turn. He's going to swing on the conduit once, Octavian will block, then he can recover and swing again. Now, that leaves him pretty vulnerable on the swing back, and we'd see a deity manifest from him there, but I guess Ken's simply just not blocking. Ken's not blocking, very interesting. So the conduit goes, that's implacable hatred, means the Wrath Lord is going to be recovering for free at the start of every turn. So that kind of puts them back on even footing somewhat. But the big story here, Ken with 6 cards in hand to Alex only having 3. That's pretty bad news. That means Alex is really going to have to think hard about when he wants to clash. Whereas Ken can clash pretty liberally. So unless Alex has a Lotus Flower hiding there in his item shop, or a couple of inspirations in hand, even then inspiration doesn't net him card advantage, it just sort of puts him back into kind of Ken will gain cards too, but Ken has enough cards in hand actually. Inspiration could be okay here. Recovering Eos, interesting. Recovering Vigo. It's his last conduit. He wants to keep it safe. That's reasonable. He's not going to be shopping by the looks of it. Just going straight to his draw step. So we're going to get a free recover for the Wrath Lord. Optionally triggering Bran's heal. We'll see if Ken remembers or chooses to use it. Unlike Corvus, Bran can use his ability still only once per turn, but he gets to choose which time it triggers. So that third conduit is going to take a bit of breaking for Ken. There's unless he's got a Nature's Wrath in hand, which he might because he's playing Bran and has a whole bunch of cards in hand. So if he does, he'll have the option here to move Nature's Wrath, smash the conduit. That would be very strong and put Alex in a bad spot. Looks like that might be what's about to happen. Nope. Okay, he's just going to grind through it the old-fashioned way. Swings on the conduit. Eos blocks. Clash from Ken. Why not? He's got all the cards. He literally holds all the cards. Clash from Alex. So we've got a Daredevil and a Rebirth. So the Daredevil here functionally allows the Wrathlord to recover for free. He's going to be hitting for 7 minus 3/4 damage and then recovering. 0 penalty on the Daredevil there. Swings again. This is his third action. And Alex is wondering whether or not he wants to risk blocking with Vigo because Vigo provides his entire offensive output. And he may be better off letting Eos go here and bringing it. If he brings out his Oracle, then he's also gaining 3 cards. Now, if he's playing the Judge, we don't know for sure whether he's playing Judge or Oracle yet, but he's playing one of them. Then that means he can't. He's not quite like Ken's used his buyback, which is great, and killing the Wrathlord support heroes is great, but with one conduit left, this is not the best time to bring out the Judge. So I suppose if he's playing the Oracle, he wants to let it go. If he's playing the Judge, he wants to hold on to it, is my feeling. And he's playing the Judge. And he wishes he was playing the Oracle right now. So we'll probably see Octavian get judged, which makes sense as well, as it allows him to protect his deity at the same location as his other heroes. Octavian goes down. Now this is one of the situations where you might be comfortable, like a lot of the time when you're playing against the Wrathlord, you don't want to be attacking him directly because generally speaking it costs you more resources than is totally worthwhile. However, in this situation where the only remaining conduit is all the way on the other side of the board, and the Wrathlord is right there, committed versus 2 of your own heroes, this is a time where I think Alex is going to be reasonably comfortable swinging on the Wrathlord just to burst that third conduit. There's nothing really in Ken's deck that will allow him to deal major damage. Oh, and the Wrathlord hasn't got any armor yet, so Starfalling and attacking. And now they're both reading Starfall to wonder whether or not you can do that. The answer is yes, you can. So there's the Grim Purpose. So that's the third conduit dead for the Wrathlord. So we're into the end game now. The Judge is in a bad spot there. I wouldn't want to leave him there. And Alex has spent 2 actions already. Alex obviously, maybe he has a Living Shrine in hand or something, but feeling a little bit brave to do that, to make that move. We'll see if it's a bold strategy. We'll see if it works out for him. The nice thing, of course, is that this way Ken has no way of bringing Octavian back. Octavian's down for the game now. With the buyback already used and all 3 conduits destroyed, Ken can't use that third conduit to bring back Octavian, and that's worthwhile. And the Wrathlord being limited to just 1 ally in the end game is a challenge for him, is a struggle. And Alex, still having access to his buyback, is in a reasonably strong position here. That Judge Manifest actually worked out for him pretty well. And we'll see whether or not Ken can use the advantage he has in terms of cards in hand to work his way to a victory here. So Alex is going shopping and he buys the staff, Archdruid's staff for the Judge. This is pretty significant, obviously, as you know, we thought he was playing the Oracle. We now know he is playing the Judge. So having banished Eos, the staff gives him access to an Evoker for as long as the game lasts, which, while he still has his buyback up, is relevant and allows him to continue to develop his board if he wants to level up Ichiro or buy more items. And it also gives his Judge that little boost in both aggressive power and survivability. We may assume that his final item is a Violent Fusion. Seems the most likely choice. Which could go on the Judge, prolonging his life a little longer, or could go on Ichiro. But I'd say it's more likely to be, if it does come out, which it probably won't, as he's going to want to save his power for buyback, it would be most likely to replace the Archdruid staff. So Ken has a free attack on the judge here. If Alex has a living shrine, he'll be fine. If he doesn't, he probably still survive. Could survive. 2 armor and 8 hit points on the judge there. Gives him reasonable survivability. Ken's offensive output. A Stormblade obviously would be really bad news here. +7 attack from Viola's ultimate. That would let Ken swing for 5, 6, 7, 14. At that point, even would Living Shrine save him? Living Shrine, he'd have 7 armor and 8. So yeah, Living Shrine would save him, but I think a 3 armor card wouldn't. So if Alex doesn't have Living Shrine, he's potentially in a lot of danger here. Again, moves his Wrathlord away. Very interesting choice. Sure what he's trying to buy time for. The more time passes now, the more trouble he's going to be in, I think. But so Ken has a window here where if he removes one of Alex's heroes from play because he's only got the 1 inspiration in the bin, it's going to be a couple of turns before he's able to buy them back, which potentially gives Ken space to claw an advantage out of that window. But I feel that moving his Wrathlord away, I must be missing something. With Living Shrine, he'd have had, 5, 7, 14 attack. He'd have had 5 armor plus 8 hit points. Yeah, he'd have been dead with Living Shrine too. So I guess Ken didn't have a Stormblade. So, okay, I guess he undid the Wrathlord running away there. It makes no sense otherwise. So they're attacking Ichiro, which is pretty interesting. Maybe Ken is looking for some extra power to buy something. He can't get his buyback. Ooh, he's playing Bran, so it's possible he's looking to set up his Bran ultimate, which refreshes his buyback. So if he wants to have access to the power for that, but that's not going to take. That's going to take another turn to play the ult, and then a whole other turn. Well, maybe. And here comes the clash on the Wrathlord. We'll see if Alex is going to clash. He may not. Down on cards. I mean, Ichiro will definitely die if he doesn't. But he may want to hold on to the cards regardless if he thinks Ichiro is going to die either way. But no, he looks like he is going to clash. And it's a cheap trick from Ken and an inspiration from Alex. So the cheap trick is going to do maximum damage here. Ichiro is definitely dead. And he's going to hit, presumably, Bran back for 3 damage. That gets a second inspiration if Alex has been, so now his buyback is reduced to costing only 3. which he should have power for. It's starting at the beginning of his next turn when his evoker triggers from the staff. So he'll be able to bring Ichiro back right away if he wants to. Given that his board is otherwise fully upgraded, there's no reason not to buy Ichiro back. If you come back at full health, ready to protect your deity. Ken moves to 5 power. The Wrathlord has no attachment yet, so I guess maybe he's looking to put a Thorn Plate on the Wrathlord. Or a Violent Fusion. Yeah, Violent Fusion. So that's what he was doing there. He was looking for the Violent Fusion. He's going to come back and finish the Judge off later. That puts the Wrathlord to 6 attacks, same as Vigo. Alex potentially has a window here. 1. I mean, there's no reason. Well, if he has an overkill, overkill doesn't always work out the way you want it, and Lever holds. Yeah, so he's swinging with only Vigo because a lot of the time, or not a lot of the time, but there are times where you want to face tank with your deity to keep a key hero alive. He's going to be swinging on the Wrathlord. Have to be expecting an overkill here, which is a big gamble to try and win the game this way because overkill can go wrong. And we've seen a fair few 3-attack cards from Alex already this game, which are all now not in his deck for the overkill. Other things that we can see from the overkill, if he flips the Living Shrine, if he flips the Purified, those are both very bad outcomes from overkill. And he may be just as happy actually, because Vigo can swing. Vigo is a trading machine right now. He swings for 6 attack and has 3 armor basic. So he's both coming in with high damage output and soaking up a lot of damage on the return. So Alex could be trying to play an attrition game here where he uses Vigo offensively and holds the overkill back to play defensively on the Judge, as it potentially is more powerful in that capacity in this circumstance, especially with if both Living Shrine and Purify are still in the deck. You want to play it in such a way that if the kind of worst case scenario of flushing both your ults happens, you are at least gaining the value. Well, let's see. Let's find out. Hardy Appetite. So yeah, he's going for the trade and he's taking out Bran, which is actually a pretty smart play, even though it looks a little unusual. But of course, it gives him the power that's going to let him buy back Octavian immediately. Although he actually did have that already. Maybe he's forgotten about that first inspiration. You can see he's checking his discard pile now and probably realizing that, yeah, he's got 2 inspirations, so he's going to be able to pay 3 and bring Ichiro back. At this point, if Ken has a Nature's Wrath in hand, the game is potentially going to fall to him right now. A simple Nature's Wrath, Wrathlord attacks the Judge, and if you play a Cheap Trick or a Stormblade, you could win the game that way. But lacking the Nature's Wrath, Ken is in big time trouble here. But no, there it is, Nature's Wrath. So now we'll find out if Ken has the Stormblade as well. Alex is just dead. If he has less than that, the game may go on. And let's find out. No Stormblade. Yeah, the overkill, like I was saying. The defensive overkill. And that's a Daredevil. Uh-oh. So we may be about to see the game end, if depending on how this overkill goes. Sukidashi, Hardy Appetite, Sukidashi, uh-oh. So that might be, so the Wrathlord is swinging for 6, 7, 8, minus 2 armor there, 6 damage. So the Judge is going to survive, but he is swinging back for infinite damage. Because the attack value of each of these cards is doubled. So 6, 12... So that is a win for Alex. The first win, he needs to win 2 games back-to-back in order to take the tournament, because he lost his winner's bracket game somewhere along the way and Ken did not. I'm going to take a moment with the players and see if they are going to play the second one right away. They are... Maybe. They are. Okay. So let's see if the draft plays out any differently. So we didn't see them randomized, so we may expect that Ken's going to go first in this game after Alex went first in the first one. But no, I guess they did, and Alex is going straight back to that Vigo first pick. Ken's picking Ichiro. So Ken has already deviated his draft. Alex bans Aitotia. Ken bans Octavian. So I would expect for Alex here, hard to say actually. Hard to know what he's thinking. Eos, so Ken is actually going to be mirroring the same deck Alex played in the first game. We will. Oh, okay, something went wrong clearly, and they're restarting. Maybe they realized that someone else, yeah. I don't know. Oh no, okay, so someone just made a mistake, misclick. Ken's taking his. So Corvus getting banned again, that's kind of surprising. Neither of these players are hugely high on Corvus, but Corvus and Vigo together. Alex struggling in his choice between Bran and Octavian. Goes for Octavian and Bran, yeah. Very solid team there for Alex. And Ken takes Rin. The last option for him there with Aitotia banned out. So the players are going to get some. Oh, we saw Ken's deity there. Awkward. Maybe Alex didn't see it. So, Ken, like we saw Ken taking the Oracle there. Not a huge surprise given that he is basically playing the same sort of value-focused build we've seen before. Just he didn't get his ideal choice of warrior character in Vigo or Aitotia. So Rin is his third pick. He's still going to be replacing Eos with the Oracle, keeping his Evoker that way. Alex likes the Judge. I'd expect to see the Judge again unless he's trying to surprise Ken with something different, a last-minute twist. But based on how he's played this tournament so far, I would expect to see Alex stick with the Judge for one more game. So I believe they played during the winners bracket. Did they? Yes, they had already played during the tournament, and Ken won their first game. So between these three games, functionally they're playing a best of three. They're currently standing at 1-1. We'll see whether or not either of them wants to deviate from their standard kind of game plans. Obviously, Ken we know isn't. The deck he's playing is very much one that he's very comfortable with. Alex is doing something a little different. I can't remember other picks he made. I know he's always been very Vigo focused all tournament long. That Vigo Aitotia build that we didn't get to see come out because it got banned. Is one he has shown success with. So now they're just finishing off their deck construction, I suppose, thinking hard about what items they want to pick, shuffling up and preparing to begin deployment. As the game is ready to begin, we're going to see Alex start by deploying his first hero any second now. Aggressive taking of the center there by Alex. Nothing too surprising. So, last game, Alex had Vigo, or Alex had Ichiro. Tsukidashi was really a non-factor because Ken was playing the Wrathlord, and Tsukidashi, most of its potency is obviated by the Wrathlord. What we're seeing here now, a very different game. I doubt Alex is going to manifest Wrathlord here. It's not impossible that he will, but I think it's unlikely, especially because Vigo sort of does the same thing as the Wrathlord anyway once you put a bit of investment into him. What that means is that Tsukidashi now is hugely more important in this matchup than it was in the last one. There's a card that Alex is going to need to keep in the back of his mind and play around at all times, because if he doesn't, it can cause huge problems, especially in the mid game, taking out essential targets, or most importantly in the late game, where it can be used to set up big kills on the deity. Now, he has one very strong out to a bad Tsukidashi, of course, which is Octavian's Aegis ultimate. But obviously Ken has 3 Tsukidashis and there's only one Aegis. Although a Aegis that's pulled off correctly can be so punishing as to swing the game. So Gift of the Elements there, blown up for Ken right away. That's going to accelerate him. We'll probably see him spend that. Hard to know. He doesn't love Rin. Leveling up is good, plus 1 attack, most importantly, putting her to 4 attack. Ken isn't a huge fan of Rin, so I'd be surprised to see him invest heavily in her this game. Maybe he's thinking a Lotus Flower, always a viable option. Well, not always a viable option, but often a viable option. So we're seeing Gift of the Elements gone for Alex as well right away. So both players accelerating their power game by giving those conduits up. There's going to be a lot of money thrown around early in this game. And we're going to see what that gets spent on. Well, it's easy, for Alex, it's easy. He's going to want to spend it on a Evoker Staff or a Sun God's Gauntlet for Vigo, and then he's going to want to transition into an early level up for Vigo, and then he's going to want to wreck things with Vigo and do Vigo things all game long. Ken, where that power is going is a little less obvious. Depends very much on what items he's brought, whether or not he wants to invest in items early or invest in his heroes first. Ichiro is so far away from his teammates that investing in his level up isn't going to feel very great right now, potentially much more powerful later on. Leveling up Eos brings him an extra 4 attack hero, but he's likely planning on banishing Eos, so again, that's not a great investment. Leveling up Rin, putting her to 4 attack and 7 hit points, makes her both more survivable and increases her offensive output. Makes it more likely she's going to be able to get value from that trade of hers. But you might be just as well accelerating that with an item, and that's what he's doing. So he's going for a Rune Hammer, very good. So that's going to put Rin in the same category as Vigo, allowing her to threaten conduits right away. And sparing Ken the need to level her up now because her 4 attack slightly less relevant. Because the main advantage of 4 attack is that a +1 weapon will put you in range of killing conduits, but the Rune Hammer lets him do that. So Ken's obviously put some thought into this build, but what he needs to do if he takes Rin, because again, Rin is not his first choice for this deck, and the Rune Hammer kind of compensates for the weakness that he sees her as having versus Vigo. And actually, he's got a Conduit Wrecker on board now sooner than Alex has. So it's Alex's turn here, and we're seeing Vigo go to work. I think. Considering his clash. Cleave is one of those cards. Actually, it's quite good here because you've got two low health, unarmored heroes. And one of those cards is hugely boosted by synergizing with Corvus. Because obviously it can turn that stun damage into lethal damage. So that puts a trade plus more damage on Rin for Alex, takes out Ken's Evoker. And he's got a lot of power here. So buying Vigo back immediately is an option. Alex has grown more and more aggressive about busting his conduits for early Mass Resurrects just to bring back one guy. But when you're sitting on 7 power like he is, unless you have a high priority spend, you're looking at an early buyback here. It saves him the tempo of that hero KO, of his Vigo getting knocked out. And of course he can't use Mass Resurrect this turn either because Vigo just died on the offense. A rare enough sight. Buyback will work, and it will leave him critically with 2 power, which will turn into 3 power at the start of his next turn, and will allow him to follow on with his plan of equipping Vigo. Yeah, so as expected there, a buyback on Vigo, putting him in the middle, interesting there to defend that conduit with Bran. I think the two tanks are likely to continue to just sort of stare at each other for a while and make smoldering eyes at one another from across the lane. So we've got 1 inspiration down for Ken, meaning he's still, with his Evoker dead, he's going to be 1 point off being able to afford a buyback this turn. So unless he gets a kill, not impossible with an equipped Rin, or destroys a conduit, not impossible with a Runehammer, so he's going to level up Rin by the looks of it. Where is he? Yeah, there we go. Levels up Rin, so he's going to go and try and get some value out of Rin's trait by the looks of things. So I suspect whether he's swinging on the conduit here or swinging directly into a hero. The level up on Rin there, given that she was already ready, says to me that he has an ultimate in hand that he wanted access to. Probably his assassination arts. That he wants to have the option of using that if he has to, especially value of securing a kill. He's got Ichiro, Living Shrine, or Eos. Yeah, so that says to me he's got assassination arts in hand. I don't know that getting the +1 attack there was so important as to require him to spend the level up now, but with 4 damage on the hero, it's possible also that he's just trying to represent the assassination arts, that he just wants to tell Alex that he has it so that Alex won't get in his way, and Alex doesn't get in his way. Oh, I'm an idiot. He did it because she only has 6 hit points and she had 4 damage on her. Stupid Jack. Okay. Let him swing at the shrine without dying, leaving him with 6 damage on him. Yeah, didn't think that one through very carefully. This is the danger of doing solo commentary. A co-caster would have picked that up immediately. And then we're seeing Ichiro make a swing as well. Unless I've missed something. It'll be a decision this turn for him as to whether or not he wants to use Mass Resurrect. He doesn't. There's that 3rd point of power again. I expect we will continue to see Alex wait. So he's going to probably go and try and take some damage on. No, he's going to go for the conduit. That's good too. And he's going to buy an item this turn rather than level anyone up. Nature's Wrath. I'd probably just recover Rin here. Going to be complicated. She could potentially, depending on what he has in hand, she could potentially do great work in the left-hand lane next turn. So the free recover would get her ready. Then he'd have one action to move in. Second action, attack Vigo. Probably kill Vigo, recover for free. Third action, attack the conduit. She'd die, but she'd have done a lot of great work. Attack Octavian, put some damage on him, also an option. Again, depends on what he has in hand in terms of offensive output, whether he has an assassination arts. These are things that kind of factor into that decision. Committing Bran doesn't feel hugely impactful. Recovering Vigo feels okay. Yeah, committing Bran. Ken's a more conservative player than I am. He's also a better player than I am. So who am I to argue? So Alex moved, attacked, recovered Octavian. We're seeing him debating what item to put on Vigo right now, or whether or not he wants to save his power for something different. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see something go on Vigo here. But given the vulnerable position that Bran's in, he might be thinking staff over gauntlet, which wouldn't be an unreasonable decision to make. It gives him that kind of security on his economy. Means that later on he'll have to give the judge something different, or the oracle, depending on who he's playing, presumably the judge though. And it's going to be... No, he's still thinking. We'll find out someday. There's nothing really got to hold on to it for. Two conduits down, obviously the wrecking ball potential, the 5 attack potential is slightly less hugely important, but still very important. And he's going for the gauntlet. Okay. Screw survivability, screw securing his mana. Man wants to kill things. We can all respect that. Very different game this time around for both players in terms of hand management. So in the last game we saw Alex go down to like 3 cards very quickly. Looks like it's going to be a conservative turn for Ken. He's just going to recover, set up for his next turn, draw a card, goes up to the hand size limit of 7. Alex also on the hand size limit of 7. So both players have a lot of gas in the tank here. Quite a different development of the hands from last game. They'll be able to feel free to throw down cards, try and make things happen. It's around now that Alex is going to need to start seriously thinking about the danger of Tsukidachi. Early game, it's not hugely powerful, not enormously impactful. Oh, that's lovely. So that's a really, it's not peak efficiency. Obviously, peak efficiency is where all your guys are already committed. But Alex effectively trading one action of committing his. He's trading 2 actions. Commits his Octavian and plays that card. But committing one guy to commit 2 guys is value enough, and that's going to slow Ken down. Covers Vigo. Would likely see Vigo swing on Rin here. That's a guaranteed kill. He should have triggered the heal there. It looks like he did. I'd expect to see Vigo solo attacking Rin now. She's the one with the power to threaten conduits much more worrying, even though she's already so damaged. Obviously that makes the kill a lot safer too. So now he's deciding whether or not he wants to recover his Octavian. Probably does. Nature's Wrath, recover Octavian, Vigo attacks. Octavian's ready to block Vigo. But with each hero committed, Ken actually, if one of those heroes dies, Ken has no way of threatening the conduit next turn because each hero's only 3 attacks. So if Alex kills Rin here, even if Ken dedicates his whole turn to attacking the conduit, it's going to be 1 action to recover, 1 action to attack, 1 action to recover. Again, we'll leave the conduit on 2 damage. So he doesn't necessarily need to leave Octavian straight here either, or leave Octavian ready at the end of his turn. He probably wants to, but there's a scenario in which he doesn't have to. And he may prefer to attack Vigo into Rin, kill Rin, level up Vigo. No, he's going for the more secure option, and that's fine. Did I miss something? Was Vigo committed at the start of the turn or something? I guess he must have been. Yeah, he was, of course, because that's how Nature's Wrath works. So, talking out my arse again, blowing smoke. So Ken's just gonna recover his guys. Oh, and Rin's gonna make an attack. So I guess he has an assassination arts. Or again, I guess he's sort of threatening it. Octavian blocks. Unlikely we'll see a kill on Octavian here. He's even when he's not leveled up, he's very hard to kill. And with 7 cards in hand, we may assume Alex has a Iron Discipline, and with 6 cards in hand, he has all the fuel in the world to support that Iron Discipline. So Octavian, there's 0 chance that he's going to die here, unless, an Assassination Arts would be 10, but no, he's on full health. There's no way. So actually, Ken almost needs to be clashing armor here. I think that's probably what he's going to do. We'll probably see some 3 armor card come down here, a rebirth or something, because he can put some damage on Octavian. He's not going to kill him no matter what he clashes. And if he plays 3 armor, Rin can survive. I guess it's possible he has multiple sneak attacks in hand. That would potentially... Blade Master, okay. So he's just given up Rin. Wants to get the reset on her. Put some damage on Octavian. I mean, 6 damage on Octavian is not nothing. Not nothing. So that's the end of Ken's turn. We'll see him draw back up to 7. He's just got the 1 power. So we're not going to see him doing anything interesting in his end phase here. We're going to see him pass the board over. Now, depending on what Alex wants to do... Oh no, Ken's just going to go for the Mass Resurrect right away. So I guess Rin, even though he's invested in Rin, no, she's going to stay. So he can't resurrect her here. Now, if a mistake is made and he uses Mass Resurrect to bring her back into play here, it'll be on Alex. No, okay, so I was just about to say that as spectators, it's not our place to police the game state, but Ken and Alex are on top of it, so that's not happened here. Oracle manifests. Strange time to manifest the... Ooh, what is he doing? He's thinking hard is what he's doing. Thinking too hard maybe, thinking himself into a corner. Sometimes you get too clever. But of course, Vigo, on Alex's turn, Vigo could have gone move, crush. So Ken's thinking that conduit's gone anyway. And he's really struggling with this decision. And yeah, he's keeping Eos. Once he's committed to this line, he has to, with only 1 power in the bank. And the smite is just super low impact. A lot going wrong here for Ken. Oh, he's got some inspirations. Okay. How many inspirations does he have? Just the one, I think. So he still can't afford buyback, but at least he's got 2 evokers, so he'll be able to afford buyback in a moment. Not sure where that missing 2 power came from, but I assume it's something he just forgot to add from an earlier kill. And it's over to Alex. So Nature's Wrath here potentially clears away to the deity, but without a surefire kill, and especially because Alex is running Vigo and Octavian together in the same deck. That means that unless you have the Aegis in your discard pile or your hand, if you play your overkill, you are going to overkill into an Aegis every time. But we don't know, maybe Alex already has both cards and he's secure to play his overkill, but even still, Nature's Wrath, Recover, Attack Deity, Overkill. With Bran and, well, with Octavian at least you got 10,000 drills and Warforged. So Overkill potentially is going to be able to do it, but it's putting a lot of eggs in a very random basket. To answer the question from the chat, stun or cleave does indeed do stun damage, but not if you've got Corvus on your team. If you've got Corvus on your team, cleave kills people. Sort of an interesting spot for Alex here. His Vigo, well, like he can level his Vigo, I guess it's not so bad. And he's got his buyback spent. So realistically, that conduit's not going to last. And we don't know what deity he's playing, but Ken doesn't have access to his buyback right now, but will gain it from his 1 inspiration. So the judge, manifesting the judge here, he wants to wait and force it a little more, I think. Manifesting the judge here gets him no value because it'll only remove 1 blocker. And then whoever he kills will get both back. Still a million cards in hand for both players. So lots of tricks left to pull on both sides. Giving up that invested Rin, she's 6 power. That's just gone forever. That's a huge blow for Ken. There's a lot of value given up. So Alex is going to level up Vigo right away. That makes sense given that the whole board is ready. And I guess he's probably just going to swing on the Oracle, but he may be swinging on Eos. We'll find out in just a second. Yeah, on Eos. Oh, so sneak attack from Ken, leaving him open to get the counter kill, but with domination from Alex, it's not going to happen. That's 2 more power for Alex. And now, if he's playing Judge, the Judge Manifest becomes a lot more powerful than it would have been before. Because no matter what now, Ken's going to be left on 2 heroes, at best case scenario. And he's recovering Vigo as well he should. Alex does also, so we know Ken still has his buyback. He potentially has access to a second buyback from Purify, but he's going to have struggle paying for it. for the time being at least. Alex also has access to a refreshed buyback to Brand's Serenity Ultimate, and similarly is close to, or and by the time he gets around to playing Serenity, will be able to pay it. So potentially worth, if Ken starts swinging in on the conduit here, it is absolutely potentially worth blocking with Vigo and giving him up, because you're going to be able to buy him back, but no, that's not what's happening. And it's an Ancient Wisdom, so we are indeed about to see the Judge come out. No surprise there. We'll probably see Ichiro bought back immediately. It would be very surprising if it was Eos who was bought back. Slight discount on the buyback for Ken. He's going to be able to get his tank back for 4 power, I think. Oh, he's playing the Purify. No, what's he doing? Put that Purify away, Ken. Use your buyback first. Jesus. So we know Ken has his Purify. We know his buyback is reduced by, I think, reduced by 4 at the moment, or reduced to 4 at the moment. So the Purify isn't yet as powerful as it might be. But he can get more inspirations in his bin, and that'll be okay. And with the Oracle as his deity and Eos as his evoker, actually Eos isn't leveled up, so he's not going to get access. It doesn't matter because the Oracle's an evoker, so he's always going to have access to that trickle of power gain. So Ken is not in as bad a spot here as it might look at first glance, because we know he has the Purify and he still has his buyback. But I would say that Alex is a little bit ahead. But we haven't seen, I don't think any ultimates come out yet. So there's still, for Ken, Assassination Arts, Living Shrine, and Purify. And for Alex, Aegis, which is hugely decisive, very important card. Serenity, which is probably not hugely important in this game, and Overkill, which could be hugely important or could be a big flop. But again, the Overkill for Alex is limited by his knowledge of whether or not Aegis is in his hand, in the deck. Oh, he's playing the Purify now. Oh, he can't do that though. It's not at the location. Again, it's on the players to maintain the game state. And it looks like they figured that out. So yeah, he's going to move the Oracle and Laser Beam Bran, giving up his potential to refresh. No, he's just going to run the Oracle away and buy back. Yeah. Oh, he's got 2 inspirations. Actually, okay, so yeah, I don't know what he was thinking about to play his Purify there and give up on his refresh buyback. But thankfully for all of us, he didn't make that decision and can continue. Yeah, his buyback's gone, but I expect we're about to see it. Oh dear, a little bit of metagaming there from Alex. Knows the Purify's in Ken's hand, doesn't want his Brand to get melted into a pile of slag. So he triggers Brand's trait on Brand himself, which will put him out of kill range from the Purify, which has got to be a pain in the ass for Ken. So Ken is like, it looks like he's in really dire shape now, but it's still not as bad as it could be because Ken has Tsukidashi. And depending on what else he's got in hand here, it's perfectly plausible that he could go Ichiro to the center, Tsukidashi the Judge, swing, Assassination Arts, win game. Now, Alex still potentially has his Aegis, so that's a very risky play that, if it goes wrong, winds up with Ken getting very badly punished and probably losing. But he has other ways of using Tsukidashi, and having the Purify in his hand as well, and the fact that he can already afford to use his refresh buyback. And Alex, given the state of the game at the moment, it's unlikely we're going to see, with 7 cards in hand and this late in the game, Serenity is a big cost to give up your whole turn to play. We're unlikely to see him spend 3 actions just to refresh his buyback. So Vigo's going to work, as is his way. 6-3 in the domination. Again, with so many cards in hand, that cost on domination is no big deal. Living Shrine comes out, so I guess we saw Vigo go straight on the Oracle there. Hits for 9, -7, 2 damage. The Oracle hits back for nothing. And I'd say we'll see Vigo run away rather than recover. Yeah. And 6 power in the bank for Alex. I suppose he'll probably want to buy something. He still has his Evoker in Bran. So the Evoker staff on the Judge is going to feel like a less valuable buy if that's the same item he was running from last game. But maybe he's gone with something different in his shop. A Thornplate here obviously would be really good. A Lotus Flower, potentially very valuable. How many cards are left in the decks? 17 and 17. So yeah, a Lotus Flower would be a fine pickup there as well. Also possible he wants to hold on to that power to level up Bran next turn, which will allow Vigo to continue trading very effectively. But Alex wants to be very wary here of getting into a grindy situation against Ken, because if he starts trying to grind out a win slowly, that just gives Ken more time to set up a Tsukidashi win. So Alex is under more pressure time-wise than it looks like here. It looks like he's got the game well in hand, but because of the constant threat of Tsukidashi, he needs to be wary of taking too long to end the game, because every turn he waits is more time for Ken to set up a Tsukidashi kill on the Judge. Now, with 17 cards left in the deck, it's likely that he hasn't drawn his Aegis yet, but for Ken, the thought that he has drawn his Aegis has to be scary, or the thought that he could play Overkill to try and Overkill into his Aegis as a defensive move has to be scary. So Ken's just passing his turn, looking for that Tsukidashi. He doesn't have it yet, clearly, or he would have gone for it. Because again, from Ken's perspective, it makes sense for him to go with the Tsukidashi the moment he draws it, because every turn he waits trying to set it up is another turn for Alex to draw his Aegis. And the Tsukidashi play, because it costs 3 actions, move in, Tsukidashi out, team attack, leaves your board committed. If you don't get the kill, you will probably get killed yourself on the return turn. So Ken wants to make sure that he plays the Tsukidashi as soon as he gets it. And Alex wants to make sure that he wins the game before Ken gets it. Now, Ken getting it still doesn't guarantee a win for him, but it's probably his best chance at the moment. We'll see what Alex wants to do. I would expect with Bran on the table, Alex has the options here. Yeah, he's thinking about Tsukidashi. He's thinking he doesn't want to draw the game out. He wants to end it. So Bran and Vigo come in. Nature's Wrath being Alex's only isolation tool. We're not going to see that coming out here, or he wouldn't have moved Bran already. Oh, he's just passing the turn as well. So 2 actions from Alex past the turn. Now, this play looks a bit weird until you remember that by doing this, he's also protecting the Judge from Tsukidashi. Ken can move 2 guys in, which I guess Alex is representing he has the Aegis, and leaves him in the same position. But he, by having 2 heroes in the lane with Ken's board, he's negating the threat of Tsukidashi, but at the cost of kind of opening his god up the other way. But like that to me looks like him saying, I have it, I have the Aegis, do your worst. And whether or not he has it, who knows. But with a play like that, Ken probably has to assume that he has it. I'm not sure. Interesting that he moved Bran as well. You want to spread your board out a little bit against Ichiro in the late game, because that Tsukidashi threat is always looming. So Bran is going to block, and it's a sneak attack, is it? Was that a Fearless Assault? Sneak attack, I think. And an Invigorate, so just a bit of... That was a Fearless Assault, okay. So the next card clashed by Ichiro this turn will have +2 attack. So Ichiro swings for 6, -2, 4. Bran takes the 4. Fearless Assault still in play. And we'll see Ichiro swing on... Maybe on Bran here? You don't want to swing, like swinging into an angry Vigo. Then you're leaving your deity exposed as well. Spending 3, spending 4, leveling Ichiro. Makes sense. And going through. So now Vigo has to attack Ifro. He's one of the better equipped to do that with his 3 armor. Means he's not taking a whole bunch of damage every time he tries to attack. I'm Alex here. Again, like he's sort of negated the threat of Sukidashi at the moment by the way he's deployed his team. So he doesn't need to be as worried about it. So Vigo swings into Ichiro because he must. Alex is a bit more free now to try and grind out a win, which he's pretty well equipped to do with Sun Gauntlet, Vigo, and Bran providing healing if he does take any damage. There's the Sukidashi. Ken's kind of acknowledging the fact that Sukidashi's threat is severely diminished in his current situation, so he's just clashing it there. Did he have it all along then? Did we see he had it all along? Whole bunch of damage goes on to Ichiro. Oh wow, exactly 9. So just barely alive. And oh, Blood Drunk, that hurts. That's probably a game deciding Blood Drunk right there. Ichiro swings for the second time. Should have triggered Bran's heal there. So Ichiro not coming out of this alive. The second Sukidashi, so he had the Sukidashis all along. Just couldn't set them up right to secure the win. So from here, that's pretty much the game over. The game is decided from here. Ken may scoop on his turn or he may play it out, but I'd be very surprised, very, very surprised to see this game turn now. So we could see a Purify would be the first thing he'd want to do, and his Purify would kill Vigo, actually, which would bring him 2 power, which would be enough for him to resurrect someone because of the inspirations. So it doesn't have to be over. This is the downside. See, Vigo had the Oracle or the no, okay, there you go. I was just about to say, Vigo had that extra survivability. Vigo does have that extra survivability. So that puts him out of Purify range again. But Bran is still in Purify range, so Ken can still use the Purify to generate the power to kill a hero, to bring his buyback back and bring his Eos back or his Ichiro back. Again, he's having to give up his Rin has hurt his endgame very badly. All of his early game investment was lost there. And actually, he's never really, he leveled his Ichiro last turn and that's it. Versus Alex's board, which is fully developed effectively. I mean, the Bran isn't leveled up, but it's not hugely important right now. Hopefully Alex doesn't do something stupid here, like go for style points. But I think we're going to see the game reach its conclusion very soon now. Players are discussing some point, possibly we've got a concession here. But no, it looks like it's not. Game goes on. Oracle attacks Bran. Clashing something. Ken trying to generate more power. Maybe he's trying to get a third inspiration into the bin, which would help as well because he'd be able to, with 2 power from killing Bran. No, it's not that. He's just going for the. There you go. He's trying to save his Purify for something different. So that puts him back into buyback range. There's the Purify, putting all the damage on Vigo. Makes sense. Puts Vigo very close to dead. And then he buys back his leveled up Ichiro, who will protect his Oracle. 4 cards each in hand. All to play for, really. It's all to play for. Alex, we know, has given up 1 invigoration to a clash. He's actually probably wishing he still had that now. Because there's no coming back for him, really. He's like he doesn't have the breathing space to play the Serenity, I don't think. Well, maybe if he's down to like 1 or 2 cards in hand, then it becomes okay. If both players keep draining their hands, oh yes, he had a second invigorate, he's fine. So that means his Vigo will stay healthy, happy enough to keep swinging. 5 swinging into a ready hero, even with the +3 armor, puts you in an uncomfortable position, depending on what you have in hand, to keep swinging. And Alex has no way of bringing his dead heroes back until he hits that Serenity, and he can't really play the Serenity until both hands are largely drained. Because if he plays it and gives up his turn while Ken still has cards, Ken can punish. If he keeps suiciding his hand into Ken's hand so that they're both down to 1 or no cards in hand, then the Serenity becomes obviously hugely more powerful because Ken's capacity to punish Alex giving up his turn to play it is reduced. And Alex gets more advantage out of the fact that he draws up to 7. So he wants to if he has it, he wants to push it as long as he can. If he doesn't have it, I mean, he has no evoker as well, so unless he gets a kill, if he gets a kill, he's already winning the game, and unless he gets a kill, he can't afford to buy back anyway. Oh, he is an evoker. The staff is out. He does have an evoker. My apologies. Aha! Vigo's bailing. He's seen Ken clash 2 Suki Dashis. He's less frightened now. Or he's got the Aegis. Vigo's committed anyway. So Ken's gonna. What's Ken gonna do? He really, before he goes after the judge, he still wants to kill Vigo. I think if I'm Ken here, I'm going to keep focusing my efforts on killing Vigo rather than on killing the judge, because the Aegis threat remains, and if you go all in on killing the judge, you're going to get punished. And if you kill Vigo, then Alex's ability to finish the game is severely reduced. And then the sort of the pressure of time goes back in Ken's favor. So Alex passed his turn by the looks of it. No, he can't. Well, what are the deck counts? 13 cards in Ken's, 13 cards in Alex's. Who's going to deck first? I don't remember who went first, so I don't know. Well, Alex went first. So Alex will deck first, I think, if it comes to it. Sukidashi. If after all that dancing back and forth, this is how the game ends, I'll be amused. Assassination arts, I expect. So does he have the overkill? Does he have the Aegis? Is he just gonna play 3 armor and hope for the best? Well, Ken's only swung with 1 hero actually, so even if it is assassination arts, it's not a kill. Is that 8? Alex could legitimately clash nothing here if he wants to. I guess there could be a sneak attack. Then he'd look like a fool. So yeah, he's gonna. But like, it's interesting because Blade Master again, and Iron Discipline. Yeah, Iron Discipline is good choice there. Gives him all the options he needs. So the Oracle swinging for 7, -4, 3. He could play a second card if he wants to. He's hitting back for 3 damage right now, -1, -2 armor, 1 damage. I don't think there's anything. I guess he could Iron Discipline into overkill here and see if he gets killed that way. But again, we don't know if he's got his Aegis or not. He's happy to just take a bit of damage. That's reasonable. That was a pretty shit Tsukidashi, I have to say. And that's all 3 Tsukidashis gone now. He's clashed the other 2. Had another 3 damage there. Still doesn't get the job done. Vigo swings. He'll have to swing into each row. Probably a hearty appetite here. I don't think we've seen any yet this game. Another inspiration and overkill. So I guess the Aegis must be in hand. So there's no way he'd play it otherwise. And Blood Drunk, Warforged, Nature's Wrath. So it's a total of 3, 4, 5, 6 attack and 4 armor. So Vigo's going to take nothing, Ichiro's going to explode. And now that should be the game. Ken has no more buyback, refreshes. And that's it, I think, unless I'm mistaken, based on how they're sort of gesturing at each other. That looks like decisions are being made about who's the winner. A decision has been made about who's the winner, and now they are into post-game discussions. Good games there from both players. Well done to Alex for pulling it back from the losers bracket. I'm going to wait on confirmation just to be sure the game is over. Yeah, it's over. Can confirm Alex the winner. Taking the series, ultimately it was a best of 3, taking it 2-1, lost the first game, won the second 2. I believe he played the final judge the whole way through the tournament and has been collecting stats on all the games played. So if you check out the Discord channel, you'll be able to see those and see what takeaways there are from a metagame perspective. We will be running a new tournament, probably in early May. We'll be starting, and that will likely feature content from the new sets. So stay tuned for that. Keep an eye on your email for mailing lists. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again for the next games. And I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. See you in the arena.